Mike, hi, I'm Michael Mikowski, I'm President CEO of GINSA. I'm joined as often the case with two of my colleagues, General Yaakov Amidror, the Julian Josephson Senior VP for here at GINSA, and former head of IDF operations, J3, and General Amidror, distinguished fellow here at GINSA, and among other things, former national security advisor to Prime Minister Netanyahu. Welcome, generals. Um,
General Aish, not Amidror. Okay.
what did I say? I said,
You said Amidror, never mind.
oh, I apologize. Okay, sorry. Uh,
Just for the sake and the memory of Julian
yes, of course.
it's really important to
Yeah,
me to take the
100%.
opportunity and mention it.
I appreciate your saying that, and we do want to express our condolences as we did privately to the Josephson family of the passing recently of Julian Josephson. It was a
Thank you.
major supporter of GINSA and sponsored General Aish, and really a unique individual. So thanks for
And Ohev Israel.
yeah, and right, Ohev Israel, lover of Israel. Thank you very much for mentioning that, General Aish. Okay, let's talk about Gaza. We haven't done that for a little bit, but I think that's the main topic of today. And I want to start with General Aish, but before I ask you a question, General Aish, I want to I don't need to explain to everybody on the audience about how important it is, but it's obviously this operation has been causing a lot of international controversy, to say the least. It seems to be triggering, perhaps, or at least they're using this as an excuse, a number of some countries to say they're planning, perhaps next week, to recognize a Palestinian state, which the United States and Israel oppose, would reward terror, among other things. But also, I'll just mention a couple of quotes here. Obviously, Israel's getting a lot of criticism about this operation. I think France said it's a destructive campaign. Germany's been critical. China fully opposes. Obviously, the Qataris mentioned genocide. You have Senator, I think Bernie Sanders today, I think being the first U.S. senator to refer to say that claim Israel is conducting a genocide in Gaza. On the other hand, you have the administration generally supportive, wants the war to be over with, but Secretary of State Rubio was just in Israel and indicated that Israel might not have any choice but to defeat Hamas. That he said that you can't allow Hamas to govern Gaza anymore, but you got to get the hostages out. It's obviously been a controversial issue inside Israel with leaks about perhaps, according to reports, there's some disagreement between the IDF leadership and the government on this. Why don't we talk first, General Aish? Could you explain exactly what's going on the ground? Obviously, the IDF is confronting what is perceived, I guess, as the last bastion, the main big stronghold of Hamas in Gaza City. How much Israel controls. They've been doing it, it seems, slowly, taking more territory in Gaza City, but now they're really going, according to reports, more further in. So could you explain kind of what's going on the ground, and then we'll get to General Amidror.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. I'll start by trying to remind everyone what is the simple strategy and strategic goal of the State of Israel. Whatever we are doing in Gaza since October 7th is simply to remove the Hamas threat from Gaza and to allow the Israeli residents of the south and the rest of the Israelis to live their life safely. Until now, we have achieved many of these goals, but not yet completed. And in order to achieve that, we had to eliminate Hamas military capabilities. And for that, we have eliminated more than 24 battalions of Hamas. We are controlling in a quite good level, 75% of the area inside of the Gaza Strip, to include Rafah refugee camps, the northern part of Gaza, the area of Khan Yunis. And right now, in order to complete the mission, we are fighting literally in Gaza City. And when people are hearing the names of neighborhoods such as Zaytun or Shati or Jabalia, these are neighborhoods inside Gaza City. Now, when I'm saying city, people have to understand that we are talking about multi-story buildings, and we are talking about an underground infrastructure and around 7,000 terrorists that fled into that city, using it as a safe haven. As we do in almost every build-up area, before we enter that area, we are using leaflets, text messages, communicating with the local population and trying to mobilize them and to evacuate them to a humanitarian zone. The most known humanitarian zone is the area of the Mawasi and the area north to the Rafah area, when we see the humanitarian support flowing in, but the same stuff is happening elsewhere. In Gaza City, before we started the current phase in the operation, there were around 1 million Gazans. 450,000 have left in the last 3 weeks. There are 500,000 left inside that we are urging and trying to mobilize them. And for that, there are a few factors that maybe later on we will discuss that are delaying it. One of them is Hamas, who is literally preventing them and threatening them from leaving Gaza City. The second element, for Gazans to leave Gaza City, they need quite a lot of money in Palestinian terms, literally to hire or to rent cars that will mobilize them, and to have a place that can accommodate them later on in the humanitarian zone. And this is without speaking about the traffic jams that right now are happening along the roads. But in terms of operations, we are trying to push them, and then who is left in Gaza City is suspected as a terrorist. So this is the stage where we are. And in terms of analyzing what we had to complete is literally to gain control on Gaza City and then to clear it up under the ground. The subterranean dimension have to be covered, and the multi-story buildings that are still standing. When you see in TV a multi-story building attacked, it means that it was incriminated. It means that Hamas is using it either for depot, HQ, command and control, or observation, or to attack IDF forces. And this is the only reason why we are attacking certain buildings and not everything over there. We have to understand the last word about fighting in a build-up area, that it's no longer a 3D fighting, but it's all around. It's above and under the ground. And when you are thinking about Hamas, it's not the same Hamas that we met in October 8th. And later on, we started to fight in the neighborhoods. It's more like guerrilla fighting, small squads that are trying to use IEDs, anti-tank capabilities, in order to hit the IDF when they are entering Gaza City. So this is basically one effort, operational effort, that has to be concluded with a lot of constraints. And first and foremost is the hostages. As far as we know their possible location, we are marking those locations on our maps. And obviously, the IDF does whatever it can in order to avoid hitting the hostages and to fight in those areas surgically and accurately as much as we can. This is one dimension. And the second dimension, while we are fighting in Gaza City and elsewhere, we are continuing to allow humanitarian support, food, fuel, water, clothing, medical support, etc., into the Gaza Strip. This is all over Gaza, the northern part and the southern part, and the area of Khan Yunis and elsewhere. And today we have suffered a terror attack in the Allenby Bridge from Jordan, while a truck with humanitarian support coming from Jordan was manned by a terrorist that was using and exploiting the fact that he's doing back and forth into Gaza. And while he was on the bridge, before he started being screened by the soldiers, he killed two IDF soldiers. So this is basically the situation in Gaza. In order to execute that, we have two divisions right now fighting inside Gaza, and another division that is fully responsible on the fence with Gaza to make sure that the Gazans and Hamas is not exploiting the opportunity in order to penetrate into Israel. That's basically the operational situation. And I assume that once it will be completed inside the Gaza City, it will take us further on few months in order to clear up the city. I'm sure that those who are with us in the last 2 years understand the complexity of fighting in build-up area, and especially when you have the hostages constraints on one hand, and on the other hand, you have the subterranean capabilities of the other side. We are using, last word, all sorts of capabilities to include the close air support and massive airstrikes on Gaza, and the armored units together with infantry and engineers unit. All of them are fighting inside, and it's not only in Gaza City. People have to understand that today we lost 4 soldiers in the area of Rafah. The way we are fighting and the way we are challenged by Hamas transformed into something like guerrilla nowadays, and it's still a severe challenge for the IDF. So this is the general picture.
All right, thanks, General Eichel. I have some questions, but why don't we turn to General Amidjor? Look, we've been talking with you about Gaza for almost 2 years now, and we go through some of the questions again. But do you want to lay out what you see is the value of what Israel is doing now?
Yeah, but in this war, I think that I explained in the past, we have more than one goal. The first one, and the very simple one, is to get the security that Hamas will not be in a position to attack Israel. That was achieved outside the Gaza Strip. Hamas does not have today the capability to take Israel out of the Gaza Strip. They cannot launch rockets because they don't have the ability to manufacture them, because we destroyed the semi-factories that they had. They cannot do something which is equivalent to the 7th of October raid into Israel, because as an organization, they are not functioning. They don't have the ability to organize so many people and to build the capabilities, the trucks, and so on and so forth. It is still the main force in the Gaza Strip, inside the Gaza Strip. And there are 3 reasons why we should destroy him completely. One is because of the day after in Gaza. If Hamas is strong, and Hamas in Gaza is stronger than any other element inside Gaza, no one will be ready to come in, because no one is ready to fight Hamas. So the third party, which will take responsibility for the next day, will compromise with Hamas, and Hamas will be actually practically the one who is making the decisions. You know, the Lebanese situation in which there is a government, was a government, but Hezbollah did what he wants. So if we want someone to come in and to rebuild the Gaza, we need to get rid of Hamas. The second reason is someone said today that if Israel won, if Israel declared that the war was was over, before Hamas is over, the notion in the Middle East and within the Palestinians will be that Hamas won the war. And in spite all the destruction in Gaza and the fact that we succeeded to eliminate its leadership and so on and so forth, if Hamas get out of the war and can make a parade in Gaza and say, Gaza is ours, yes, Israel is a superpower, they can win the war against Hezbollah, they can win the war against Iran, they cannot defeat us, Hamas. Israel will be declared within the Middle East people and the street as the one which lost the war. And for us, for the future life of Israel in the Middle East, it's a devastating situation. We have to rebuild our position in the Middle East for future deterrence, for future credibility in the Middle East. And after the 7th of October, it cannot be done without full destruction of Hamas. And
this is possible. Yeah.
And I mean, and there is another reason. It is not about Israel. It is not about us and Hamas. It's about the Middle East. If Hamas will not be distracted, and because Hamas can declare that he won the war, more and more countries are recognizing the Palestinian state, thanks to Hamas' success in the war against Israel. You can be sure that Hamas-like organizations will came out and flourish in states like Jordan, the Gulf countries, the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt with encouragement of the Turks. It will symbolize the success of the Muslim Brotherhood kind of organizations, and we will see it all around the Middle East. If we succeed to destroy Hamas, it will be understood in the Middle East that these kind of movements are leading nowhere. And that is a very strong signal around the Middle East, not because of Israel and not even because of the Palestinians. It's about the other Muslim countries, our Sunni Muslim countries in the Middle East. If we lose and Hamas will succeed to get out of the war in Gaza with the claim that they succeeded to survive because this is the how to call it, the raison d'etre of the resistance, and they succeeded to implement it. And yes, at the end they lost many people, but they are still controlling Gaza. And this is, people don't understand, it's a huge issue in the Middle East. It is the only place in which Muslim Brotherhood kind of organization is controlling a full area, a group of people, and is the practical ruler of the area. There is no any other example for that now in the Middle East. And if they succeed to have it after the war, to keep it after the war, to run it after the war, it will be very bad for the whole Middle East. So in a way, we are now fighting in Gaza for practically eliminate every capability to attack Israel. Members of Hamas probably will be there, the idea will be there, but no one will have the ability to attack Israel. And we are fighting to show the Arab world that war is leading to catastrophe and cannot succeed. And for that, we have to fight and to sacrifice. There is no free lunch.
And General, why don't we just, I mean, you laid out why it's strategically valuable, critical for Israel. Obviously, there have been some costs, and you might see them as secondary, but how do you assess the reaction lately of France, England, Canada's now, well, Canada was more about Doha, it seemed like, but they generally been critical. I mean, this might just be internal politics for these countries, but what do you make of? And
First of all, I would say that this is a very stupid and irresponsible act. Why? It is encouraging the school of thoughts of Hezbollah-like organizations, or of Hamas-like organizations. Hamas is showing that you can do what they did in the 7th of October. The atrocities that they did, and at the end of the day, the world is helping them, encouraging them, appreciating what they did, because something was very important was achieved by the Palestinians because and after the 7th of October. This is why it is so stupid. It's stupid even if they want to achieve something in the future, they are losing leverage on the Palestinians. So what leverage they will have in the future? And from our point of view, we have to decide what is more important for Israel's future. To have good relations with Paris, London, Berlin, and I don't know who else. Canada, Australia, Italy. To have good relations with them and to have Hamas as the ruler of Gaza, or to have bad relations with them, but Hamas will not remain in Gaza. And it is a question that was on the table in the past, probably will be in the table in the future. What is more important for Israel to accomplish? To save the international relations with all these countries and to have Hamas as the one who is ruling Gaza, or to get rid of Hamas as the one who is ruling Gaza and to have better relations with those capitals.
Another thing on the international, I didn't mention the U.S., although I brought it up at the very beginning. You have Rubio just in Israel. He, pretty much backed Israel's views that you got to get Hamas can't be allowed to govern, and the hostages have to be removed. But how do you see the U.S. Approach? Is it generally, does Israel have carte blanche, or are there certain restrictions on what Israel could be doing?
I think that what Israel does not have kind of a carte blanche about is time. I think that the Americans understand, and we had the opportunity to meet some American generals, and then even the professionals understand that what Israel is doing is the only way to fight Hamas in the Gaza Strip. So those who say, don't kill civilians, don't destroy buildings, the practical meaning of it is, do not fight Hamas. And because we decided to fight Hamas, these are the side effects of this decision. But on the table, there were two approaches. One is the relations with the world is very important. The life of the hostages is very important. Everything is more important than destroying Hamas. And one day we will destroy Hamas. We don't know when and how, but one day we will do it. The other approach was, it is more important to destroy Hamas, and one day we will restore the relations with these countries, and if we win the war in Gaza, it will be even easier.
Okay. General Ice, let me
By
ask
the way, one remark I have to say. People are saying, what do you mean winning the war? How it will look like? And the answer is, what we want to achieve is basically area A and B in the West Bank, all over Gaza Strip. Gaza Strip will be a big area A. It's not so big, but a big area A. It's 360 square kilometers. That will be a big area A in which someone, Palestinian Authority or someone else, will be responsible for all the civilian exercises that they need. Someone will have to take responsibility for rebuilding Gaza. It's a huge money. I think 50 billion will not be good enough. And Israel will be responsible for the security. Not the domestic security, but the boundaries of Gaza, and inside Gaza, any attempt to build something that might attack Israel or endanger Israel in the future should be destroyed. So Israel is responsible for the security. The third party is responsible for organize a new Gaza society and institutions. And at the end of the day, it will be probably combination of Arab states, the Palestinian Authority, the Americans, and maybe others. By the way, all those that we met during the 2 years, speaking with them about the day after in Gaza, all of them told us, okay, we are ready to consider if Hamas is not there, if Hamas is just, we will come only if Hamas eliminated by it.
Okay.
But that under the table, not on the table.
Yeah. Let me ask General Eich, one question that I just see already from Richard Horowitz. He raises that there was some report on NPR yesterday that Israel bombed a fertility clinic and that it proved genocide. If you could address that first, and then I'll ask a little broader question.
Well, I saw the question. Israel is doing whatever it can in order to avoid collateral damage. Definitely a clinic. I must admit personally that the same clinic, the same question is coming time and time again, almost every operation. I remember this type of questions since Operation Protective Edge.
I see. Okay. All right. Let me ask you also on timeline now.
I must say something about genocide. I think it's very important. Look,
No, yeah.
in genocide, the assumption is that the community which is genocided by someone,
Yeah.
the number of the people in this community will be reduced.
Right.
Killed, expelled, I don't know what. In the whole history, since 67, when we were the rulers of both Gaza Street and the West Bank, the number of Palestinians in both places was rising all the time. There was never any year in which, at the end of the year, someone could come statistically saying, you know what, the Israelis are very successful. We have now less Palestinians in the West Bank or in Gaza. So it's a very peculiar genocide in which we are so stupid to make it, and the Palestinians are flourishing, are becoming bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
During the war itself, no question, the Palestinians in Gaza suffered huge blow, and their life are miserable. But genocide it is not. We didn't kill in purpose Palestinians in big numbers. Maybe some Palestinians had been killed because we made a mistake. We thought that they are coming, they are saying that they are coming to take food, but at the end of the day, we found that they are threatening our positions, securing this area, and the commander on the ground made a mistake and killed 100 Palestinians. It's not a genocide. It's a big mistake, but it's not a genocide. Genocide means that one society decided to reduce the ability of the other society to live and to be better in the next generation. It never happened since 67.
Yeah.
So we can say that we are very cruel, that we are making mistakes, that we are killing too many Palestinians that should not be killed. Everything, we can argue about it, but that can be said. But to say that this is a genocide, I mean, there is no any connection with what we are doing in genocide. Genocide should bring the number of Palestinians to reduce, not to be bigger than every year.
Yeah. Israel's genocidal, they're certainly failing. Let me ask you, General Eich, let me go back to the operation for a second in Gaza City and so on. I think Effie Defrin, the Israeli military spokesperson, who was a former visiting fellow with Jinta and a great guy, I think he said something like it would take several months to take control of the city, its centers of gravity, and several more months or even more to cleanse the city whose infrastructure is deep and well established. Now, some is non-military officials are saying it could take by the end of the year. Now, I know estimates in these kind of things are, you got to be very careful with them. I remember at the beginning going to Israel in November of 2023. I was told major operations in Gaza would end at the end of December of 2023. And then I think I was there the following month in December, and I was told it would end by January. Obviously, that didn't happen. We're almost 2 years later.
But I think that from the beginning, I told you that it would be at least a year.
Yes, you have said that.
I was the most pessimistic one. And if you count the number of days that we really fought in Gaza, we didn't wait to release the hostages. And then we wait to enter to Rafah because of America. Then we decided that we are moving the forces to Lebanon because there was the issue of lose it or use it, and we had no other choice but to move forces into Lebanon because we didn't know what would be the reaction of Hezbollah to the page operation. So I think that if you count the actual months in which we were very active in Gaza, it's less than a year.
Yeah. But General Ice, let me go back. I was going to add, besides Effie, I spoke to another Israeli general, and obviously I imagine there's disagreements within the military even on this, but he also told me about 6 months, which is what kind of Effie's quote suggests, including cleaning the city out of terrorists. I don't know if the civilian leadership, anyway, do you have any,
What is the question?
are you willing to hazard a guess on this? How long are we talking about? Because I think I can't remember what Prime Minister Netanyahu exactly said, but I think he said something like it will end soon. Seems like the civilian leadership has been trying to suggest it will end sooner, and the military guys are saying that it could go longer. I don't know if you want to address that.
Okay, so I think we should understand a bit more in details what is going on over there and what someone means when he's saying, "Oh, we are going to take control on a certain area." There is a control right now on Rafah, and we lost 4 soldiers over there.
Yeah.
We're still fighting, and no one is sure if the idea that struck their Humvee was planted yesterday night or a month ago. And no one yet can tell us that all the tunnels that are in that area are demolished. Even at the day after, listen carefully to what General Lamidor was saying. He was saying, "I want it like Area A." It means that you are going in and out. For what? For hitting terror squads, finding their labs, finding their depots, finding their HQs, finding their equipment, and hitting them. So if you would try and compare it to what is going on right now in Judea and Samaria, we are going on a nightly basis into those refugee camps and cities when we identify terror activities or terror squads or terror organizations planning to do this or that. So at the end of the day, when we are saying to complete the mission, there is a missing link here. We talked about removing the threat of Hamas. We talked about destroying their military capabilities, destroying their military infrastructure, specifically this one under the ground. We didn't mention the missing link, which is who is the alternative? Who is going to take control? The mission is going to be completed only when someone else will administrate the Gaza Strip. And in that sense, it's a very sensitive matter between the school of thoughts within the military. There are certain voices and the direction given by the government. It's not yet clear who is going to control, and I'm not sure that someone have a complete answer on that. Definitely one thing has to be achieved. Once we are gaining control, once we finish to clear up Gaza City as we did elsewhere, once we clear up the underground subterranean capabilities, we have to administrate that area somehow. And it's not only food, and water. It's all the other elements that comes with it, and someone will have to administrate it. And right now, it seems that the IDF will have to do it. That's why I think what General Dafrin was describing in the media is very close to reality. Having said that, you can see surprises. Take a look what have happened in the last 2 years when we shifted the main effort to the north or to Syria or to Iran, or we decided to go for a ceasefire for the hostages. So it's very unstable, but in terms of time frame, yeah, it's a matter of a few months, and afterwards we will have to continue fighting guerrilla terrorist cells that are going to be at that area. We are not going to finish it until the last terrorist. It's going to be an effort done on a daily basis as we are doing it in Judea and Samaria.
If I may add one remark, we are in a dialogue with many, but for some countries in the Middle East and out the Middle East, to try to understand what they are ready to do and how we can build kind of coalition for controlling Gaza afterwards. Here in Israel, there is an argument if you should bring to this coalition elements from the establishment of the Palestinian Authority, because the system there is very corrupted, inefficient, and they are paying to terrorist families based on what they did. I mean, those who are in prison in Israel, their families are getting paid during the year that they are in the prison, and so on and so forth. So there is a big argument here if we need an element. I believe that we cannot do it without them. Not because they have any efficiency which is with other are lacking, but because any Arab country will need a legitimacy, and the legitimacy can be given only by the Palestinian Authority. How it will work together, what they be their share in the whole spectrum of providing the civilians with the services and so on and so forth, I don't know yet. But I think that at the end, the Arab countries which will be ready to invest and to help the Palestinians in Gaza need some kind of semi-approval from the Palestinian Authority. And in the end, we will have to compromise on that, because if we want someone to come into Gaza City. One remark. The second one, the dream about the Riviera in Gaza, after all the Palestinians will be immigrated, I think it's not practical, not because the sand in Gaza is not fantastic for a basis for another Palm Beach. It's because I don't see countries who are ready to accept the people of Gaza. They have very bad reputation, and they earn it, for example, in those atrocities of 7th of October. So countries which will be ready to accept them, like South Sudan, it's not any place that the people of Gaza will be ready to immigrate to. So the whole issue is to find the countries which will be ready to bring in 2 million Palestinians from Gaza. I'm very skeptical about this possibility. This is number three emphasize that I want to put. At the end of the day, the Israelis will not agree to any solution in which the IDF is not the supreme responsible for the security. After the lesson of the 7th of October, it is not going to happen.
Let me ask, if I may switch for, or maybe just the last item. I wanted to ask about the UN week next week. You have Netanyahu coming to speak. I assume Trump is also speaking next week. I think maybe a little less media about that. Then Netanyahu's reportedly coming to Washington. After that, of course, you got Rosh Hashanah next week, and he's going to meet with President Trump reportedly. So let me ask you, General Amidjor, what are you looking for next week? It should be an interesting week. Whether the French, I mean, you got, I think Ron Dermer, former distinguished fellow, was reportedly in London this week to meet with Witkoff. They're trying to see if they cut a deal. I assume they're trying to head off some of this effort to recognize the Palestinian state. And I should mention that last week there was a big UN vote about recognizing a Palestinian state. And I think, I can't remember, but Israel and the United States opposed, and maybe another 8 other countries like Argentina and Hungary. But I think over 200 over 100, I can't remember the exact number, 140 or something, supported that resolution. Even the Greeks and the Germans supported it. The Czechs abstained. But given all this, there's the isolation that even Netanyahu spoke about this week. And he said Israel needs to be a super Sparta, which caused some
very bad example in language.
Yes, I agree. And so where do you want to see next week?
I'll try to elaborate a little bit. Look, first of all, it's issue of decision. Israel should decide what is more important: to have good relations with Paris, Berlin, London, Canberra, and Canada, and having Hamas staying in Gaza and control Gaza. These are the two options: to stop the war now, to take the hostages, to go out, and to make the relations with the Europeans and others much better, but Hamas will remain in Gaza. Or to say it's a high price, but it should be paid, because what's important for Israel is to destroy Hamas. These are the two options. There is no third way to deal with it. People are saying, but General, you have to think out of the box, and everything is not black and white. No, in this case, it's black and white. Either you stop your war, or you don't stop your war. If you don't stop the war, you will lose internationally. If you continue the war, you might distract Hamas. And this is a decision. Decision was made by the Prime Minister of Israel and the cabinet. The destruction of Hamas is, with all due respect to all these countries with which Israel had very good relations in the past. By the way, not all of them voted for the independence of Israel in the United Nations in 1947. Yeah. And this is okay. We decided to pay the price. There is no free lunch. We have to pay. But it's something more than that. I'm sure that in foreseen future will not be an independent Palestinian state. Why? Because Israel is a democracy. And at the end of the day, if 70, 75 or 80% of the people, of the citizens of Israel cannot agree to a Palestinian state that no one can guarantee will not be controlled by Hamas, it is not going to happen. The government will not have any pressure from within to agree to a Palestinian state. On the contrary, the pressure will be not to let it happen, because you ask all those who recommend us to have a Palestinian state. One question, only one. Can you guarantee that in the free elections that you envisioned in your thought about the new Palestinian state, can you guarantee that Hamas will not win the elections? And if they are honest with themselves and the reality, they cannot guarantee it, because don't tell anyone. Probably Hamas will win the elections, as it is today. So it's a hollow decision by the United Nations. But today, by the way, to understand what is the United Nations, today, representative of Iran, ex-ambassador to the United Nations, was nominated, a woman was nominated as member of the Human Rights Committee of the United Nations. So this is the United Nations. Yeah. I don't have any expectations, and And why it is stupid, even from the point of view of those who think that should have be a Palestinian state, because it's clear that any negotiations about Palestinian state will need that both sides will compromise. Okay. What leverage remain in the hands of the Prime Minister of Britain and the President of France if they gave legitimacy and recognition to the Palestinian state? What leverage they will have with the Palestinians afterwards?
Yeah. Just one last thing, and I'll turn to General Ice. But I understand about the UN, but I guess I was a little more focused about what you see happening next week with France and Saudi Arabia and so on, and also with the Trump Netanyahu meeting later next week.
About the United Nations will be a declaration. 140 countries will vote for recognition of the Palestinian state, and nothing will happen. It's a whole decision without any basis on the. About the meeting with the Prime Minister and the President, I think it's a very crucial meeting. Why? The success of Israel in the war changed the balance in the Middle East. It's another Middle East. Geopolitics, different geopolitics. There is no axis. There is no Shiite crescent. There is no any connection between Iran and Lebanon, and Hezbollah might be disarmed. Hamas, you see the situation. It's a different Middle East. There is no way to see now aggressiveness of Iran because the Iranians are exposed to Israeli Air Force. They don't have anti-air system, and they have been pushed. I don't know for how many years back in their nuclear program, and they don't have the ability to produce missiles. And I mean, it's a different Middle East, and these two gentlemen should sit together with their advisors or by themselves and to decide what kind of a Middle East they want. To put a list of the problems, to put the list of the opportunities, and to put the list, okay, what should be done? Because now the combination of the United States of America and Israel is something so strong that they can put a list and to decide that will be implemented. And as once Prince Turkey of Saudi Arabia told me, with the Israeli money and the Saudi mind, we can change the Middle East. I'm telling you, with the capabilities of Israel and America today, they can change the Middle East. But they have to sit and to decide what they want. Do they want changing regime in Tehran? I'm not sure that this is the right decision to take. But if they want it, they have to implement it. They have to begin to work on that. They have to decide what they do if Iran is going back to the nuclear project or the missile project or both. Okay, how we are sharing the monitoring system and what we do if. How to continue with the pressure on the government in Lebanon to disarm Hezbollah. What is the American part of it and what is the Israeli part of it? There are more than rumors that we might have kind of security agreement with the Syrian new regime. Right. If that is happening, I mean, for them to deal with about Syria, it's a very important issue. Okay, what we do with new Syria? If it's new, I'm not sure, by the way, that it's so new, but let's assume that it is, and we have an agreement. Okay, where we continue from here? It's a new Middle East. Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, I'd like to conclude, General Ice. Thank you, General Amidjor. Do you have anything you want to add about next week that people should be looking for? What's going on in New York? What's coming? I think the meeting with Netanyahu and Trump, I assume, is here in Washington. But
well, I assume that the most important part next week is the meeting in Washington, not necessarily the General Assembly vote that was mentioned here. In fact, the two-state solution is not something new. Over here in Israel, we had for a certain period of time that notion to include the Prime Minister Netanyahu that came with it in the Bar Ilan speech. It's not relevant. Think about, show me the leadership that would lead the Palestinians. I'm looking forward to see it in Judea and Samaria and in Gaza. I'm afraid that we have to remove Hamas as a threat, and hopefully we will see a future leadership that can bring some hope to the region. So far, I don't see any of it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. I think we should conclude. I want to thank both of you generals, General Ice, General Army Joe, for joining us. I want to thank everybody and by the way, for joining us as usual late at night in Israel. To you and and thank the whole audience for joining us. For those watching who are Jewish, I want to wish everyone, those of you, a happy and healthy New Year. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Thank you very much, Shana Tova, and
Thank you very much, General Ami Joe.
bye.